Have you ever sat down to do something important, only to feel like your mind is a crowded room with everyone talking at once? You try to focus, but a dozen unfinished thoughts keep popping up. The email you didn't answer, the appointment you forgot to schedule, the groceries you still need to buy, the random idea that came to you in the shower. It's like your brain is running 20 browser tabs in the background, and no matter what you do, they keep stealing energy from the one task that actually matters. That constant buzzing, that low-grade mental noise, it's exhausting. It makes you feel busy without being productive, drained without having done anything meaningful. And the worst part is, you think it's just you. You tell yourself, maybe I'm bad at focusing, maybe I'm disorganized, maybe my brain is too scattered. But the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. What you're experiencing is mental clutter, and it's a universal human problem. And once you understand how it works, you'll realize it can be cleared faster than you think, literally in 30 seconds. Here's the paradox. Our brains are amazing at generating thoughts, but terrible at holding them. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks and open loops take up disproportionate space in our minds. Your brain, trying to protect you, keeps them active so you don't forget. But the cost is high. Instead of one clear thought, you get a swarm of half-formed reminders that pull you in every direction. That's why you can't relax after work, why you can't focus when you sit down to write, why you feel overwhelmed when the day has barely started. It's not because you lack willpower or discipline. It's because your brain is cluttered with dangling threads it refuses to drop. The solution is not to fight your brain, but to give it what it wants, a safe place to offload those threads. That's where the 30-second mental dump comes in. Think of your brain like a computer. When too many programs are running, the system slows down. You don't fix it by working harder, you fix it by clearing memory. That's exactly what this technique does for your mind. In just half a minute, you can take the buzzing chaos in your head and translate it into clarity and focus. And the framework is simple. I call it capture, release, refocus. Capture the clutter. Release it onto paper or screen. Refocus on what matters. That's the entire model. 3 steps, 30 seconds, instant relief. Let's break it down. Step 1, capture. As soon as you feel that buzzing in your head, stop what you're doing. Take any sheet of paper, a sticky note, or even the Notes app on your phone. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is speed. For 30 seconds, you simply write down everything that's swirling in your head. It doesn't need to be neat. It doesn't need to be organized. It doesn't even need to make sense. If the thought is there, you dump it. Reply to John. Dentist Thursday. Buy detergent. Idea for project. Why did I say that yesterday? All of it goes down. You don't censor, you don't prioritize, you just capture. The goal is not to solve, the goal is to unload. Step 2, release. The magic happens the moment you see those thoughts outside your head. Your brain immediately relaxes. Why? Because it trusts external memory more than internal juggling. Once the thought is written, your brain doesn't need to keep it on high alert anymore. It's like telling a worried assistant, "Don't stress, I wrote it down, it won't get lost." Suddenly, the buzzing quiets. And notice you haven't fixed anything yet. You haven't answered the email or scheduled the appointment. But your brain doesn't care. It just needed to know the thought was safe. That's why you feel lighter instantly. The act of release is what creates the clarity. Step 3, refocus. Once the clutter is out, your mind has space to come back to the present. You're no longer pulled in 12 directions. You can choose, consciously, where to direct your attention. And here's the key. You don't have to tackle everything you wrote. In fact, you shouldn't. The point isn't to create a giant to-do list, it's to reset your head. After the dump, you pick just one thing, the next action that truly matters, and dive in with a clear mind. That's the power of refocus, from chaos to clarity, from buzzing to calm in half a minute. You might be thinking, can something this quick really make a difference? The science says yes. Research on cognitive load shows that the brain's working memory is limited to just a few items at once. When it's overloaded, performance drops sharply, but offloading even a handful of thoughts reduces that load dramatically. It's like taking a heavy backpack off your shoulders. You feel lighter not because the world changed, but because you're no longer carrying the weight. And the beauty of the 30-second dump is that it's always available. Before a meeting, before writing, before sleep. Anytime you feel the buzzing, you can reset. It's not a grand ritual, it's not another system to maintain. It's a simple release valve that prevents your mind from overheating. Let's imagine how this looks in real life. You sit down at your desk in the morning, planning to start a report. But your mind is full. The conversation from yesterday, the bills due this week, the groceries you forgot. Normally you'd try to push through, but the clutter slows you down. Instead, you grab a notepad, set a timer for 30 seconds, and dump every thought. The page fills quickly, messy, and unfiltered. At the end, you take a breath, and something shifts. The buzzing is gone. You look at your list, maybe circle one item for later, and then your attention settles fully on the report. What used to take an hour of half-distracted work now takes 30 focused minutes. That's the difference clarity makes. There's also an emotional benefit here. Mental clutter doesn't just drain productivity, it fuels anxiety. When your head is full of open loops, you feel restless, uneasy, like you're constantly forgetting something. That tension eats at you even when you're not working. But when you externalize the clutter, you feel in control again. You see the whole landscape of your thoughts in front of you, and instead of drowning in them, you're holding them. That shift, from being inside the storm to standing outside it, reduces stress instantly. And when stress goes down, focus and creativity go up. Now here's the part most people miss. You don't need to organize the dump right away. In fact, you shouldn't. The goal is not to create the perfect plan, it's to clear the head. If you try to categorize and schedule every thought immediately, you turn the dump into another task. That defeats the purpose. Think of it more like a brain cleanse. Later, when you have more time, you can review your notes, decide what's important, and discard the rest. But in the moment, the dump is about freedom, not structure. And that's why it works so quickly. This technique may sound almost too simple, but that's exactly why it's powerful. The brain doesn't need complicated solutions, it needs relief. And when you give it a fast, easy way to let go, it rewards you with clarity. The 30-second dump is like a mental shower. Just as you wash off dirt before starting the day, you wash off clutter before diving into focus. And once you feel that lightness, you'll realize how much of your fatigue and distraction wasn't about the work itself, but about the noise surrounding it. Remove the noise and suddenly your natural focus shines through. Here's the fascinating part. Once you start using the 30-second dump, you begin to notice patterns in your clutter. At first, it feels random, just a mess of unrelated thoughts. But after a few days, you'll see themes. The same reminders pop up again and again. The same worries surface in slightly different forms. The same ideas return, begging for attention. This is where the dump becomes more than a reset. It becomes a mirror. It shows you what your brain values, what it fears, what it doesn't trust you to handle. And that awareness is powerful, because once you see the patterns, you can act on them strategically. If the same 3 tasks show up every morning, maybe they need to become fixed habits, not constant decisions. If the same worry repeats, maybe it needs to be addressed directly, not carried endlessly. In this way, a 30-second exercise doesn't just clear space in your head, it reveals the hidden architecture of your mind. Think of it like cleaning a messy desk. The first time, you just sweep everything into a pile so you can work. But when you do it regularly, you start noticing, why are there always receipts? Why do pens keep piling up? Why is the same paper always on top? The dump works the same way. The clutter isn't random, it's data. And if you're willing to notice it, it teaches you about yourself. But the first and most important benefit is always the same: immediate relief. And that relief is enough to change how you feel about your day. One reason this works so well is because of how memory and attention interact. Your working memory, the mental notepad you use to hold thoughts in the moment, can only handle a handful of items at once. When it's full, everything else you try to add just bounces off. That's why you can read a paragraph and immediately forget it, or walk into a room and not remember why you're there. But when you offload thoughts, you free up space in working memory, which makes everything sharper. You don't just feel better, you actually think better. Your comprehension improves, your problem-solving speeds up, and your creativity has room to breathe. This isn't just psychological comfort, it's cognitive performance. 30 seconds of dumping can give you back hours of effectiveness. Now, let's address a common doubt. Won't this just create an endless list of things I'll never get done? The answer is no, because the dump isn't about doing, it's about clearing. Some of the things you write won't matter, some you'll never act on, and that's fine. The point is to capture them so they stop weighing you down. Imagine carrying a backpack full of random objects, half of them useless. You don't need to use everything inside to feel lighter. You just need to set it down. That's what this technique does. And ironically, the things that really matter often rise to the top naturally once the noise is gone. You'll see them clearly, because they'll keep showing up even after multiple dumps. Those are the ones worth your focus. Here's another bonus. The dump is an incredible tool for sleep. How many nights have you laid awake, replaying the day or worrying about tomorrow? That racing mind is just mental clutter with no outlet. If you keep a notepad by your bed and do a quick dump before sleep, You signal to your brain that it doesn't need to keep those loops alive. You've captured them, you've given them a home, and your mind, finally reassured, lets you rest. People who use this trick consistently report falling asleep faster and waking up less during the night. It's such a small shift, but the ripple effect on your rest and recovery is huge. Now let's tie everything back to the framework. Capture, release, refocus. Capture is the courage to stop and acknowledge the noise instead of pretending you can push through it. Release is the act of letting your brain know it doesn't have to hold everything at once. Refocus is the gift you give yourself when you return to the present moment with clarity. 3 steps, 30 seconds, 1 transformation. That's the entire model, and it's all you need. So here's what I want you to do. Sometime today, when you feel that buzzing in your head, don't fight it. Don't scold yourself for being distracted. Don't open another app to escape it. Instead, pause for half a minute. Grab the nearest scrap of paper or your phone and dump it all out. Messy, unfiltered, raw. Capture, release, refocus. And then notice how your body feels. Notice how your shoulders drop, how your breath deepens, how your mind quiets. That's not an illusion. It's the weight of clutter lifting off you. And once you experience that shift, you'll know you have a tool you can trust for the rest of your life. Your mind is not broken. You are not doomed to live in constant noise. The clutter is simply a signal, a sign your brain is overloaded. And the fix is not hours of planning, not complicated systems, but 30 seconds of freedom. Use it once and you'll feel relief. Use it daily and you'll feel transformation. Because a clear mind is not just calmer, it's sharper, faster, and more alive. So try it. Give yourself 30 seconds. Dump the clutter, reset your brain, and step back into your day lighter and clearer than before. This is your chance to experience what it feels like to think with space again. And once you feel it, you won't want to go back.